So the issue of Kamala Harris I wanted to get to was regarding her position on Medicare-for-all. And Medicare-for-all it's obviously an issue that's important to progressives. It's an issue that we care about very, very deeply, and we try and make it the central point that we focus on, and something that we want to make sure that people understand that that's what we're fighting for the most. Because healthcare is obviously a huge issue in this country. It's a huge issue that is obviously not going away when it comes to majority of people in this country who are dealing with medical bankruptcies, and people that are not they're not getting adequate care, and they continue to suffer at the hands of these big insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, healthcare companies that are they continue to screw people over. And even under something like Obamacare, we're still having that issue. It doesn't matter whether, regardless of Obamacare or not, we still have the insurance companies fucking us over and screwing us over and, making things worse for us. And Obamacare was something, unfortunately, that perpetuated this. And it's not something that's going away. And we have to make sure that we nip it in the bud before it gets any worse than it already is. And it's, if we rely on our current politicians, they're not going to do anything to fix that. No fucking way. The current politicians that are running things, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything that's going to help fix that problem. And it's something that we have to make sure that we tackle as soon as possible. And hopefully we can get to a point that obviously we can get money out of politics, and then we can get politicians that make this more of an issue, as they seem to kind of be doing these days more. But whether they truly are committed to it, that's the biggest concern. So that's why we get to Kamala Harris here, who has, so her and obviously many other senators out there have said, oh, we support Bernie Sanders' Medicare-for-all plan, and I think he had like 14 or 15 co-sponsors, 16 co-sponsors, I think it was, and he that obviously made Bernie Sanders look very good. It made those politicians look good to an extent, and so Kamala Harris, she was one of the politicians on that debate stage was it Thursday night? She was one of the politicians that did raise her hand when asked if would you be in favor of getting rid of abolishing private insurance to make sure that government run healthcare is the main policy that's going to be implemented in the country. So she was one of the people that did raise her hand, and I wanted to get into a little bit of that. Let me play the video for you guys where that happens, and then we're gonna cover the article, cover the specific article that gets the details here. And here, let me play it for you guys, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
In talking about healthcare, so let's talk about healthcare, and this is going to be a show of hands question. We asked a question about healthcare last night that spurred a lot of discussion, as you know. We're going to do it again now. Many people watching at home have health insurance of their employer. Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan? Yeah. All right.
So she clearly, as you guys saw, but you guys obviously going to see in the clip that I'm going to be posting on YouTube, you guys saw that she raised her hand and she made sure that people saw what she what she stood for on that specific position. Bernie Sanders obviously was another person that raised his hand. Her and Bernie Sanders were the only two people to raise their hand on when asked that question. So, but unfortunately, she has actually backtracked. She has actually backtracked on that and claimed that she misinterpreted the question, and apparently she didn't understand the question when it was asked of her. And she went on Morning Joe and was asked about this, and then so she was asked, and then she kind of gave her backtracking response here. So check this out now.
Senator, on health care last night, you were asked to raise your hands, the entire panel, 10 of you, if you believe eliminating private insurance should be part of the Medicare-for-all proposal. You and Bernie Sanders both raised your hands. You've been asked and sort of clarified this question a couple of times over the course of the campaign. So once and for all, do you believe that private insurance should be eliminated in this country?
No.
You don't?
No, I do not.
But you raised your hand last night.
But the question was, would you give up your private insurance for that option? And I said yes.
Oh, I think you heard it differently than others then.
Probably, because that's what I heard.
So that's a very Weasley response to a very direct question. I believe that she was coached to give that response. I believe that she was told by by her advisors and her strategists to give a response where she could end up not obviously being in favor of Medicare for all or single payer, so she can say like, well, I don't support this, and it was an accident, it was by mistake, whatever. So, and it's ironic because she actually. So there was another time that it was a town hall. I believe it was the town hall when she first ran. So after she declared her candidacy, she so I think that was in June, January 20th, I believe. January 20th or 20th. It was right around MLK Day. I think it was on MLK Day that Kamala declared her candidacy for president, and she actually said that she would be in favor of abolishing private insurance, and she said that she supports Medicare for all. She supports that whole policy, but then she backtracked, and this was during a CNN town hall on January 29th, or I think it was 29th or 30th, and she did a town hall in Des Moines, Iowa, right after, like I said, it was about a week or so after she declared her candidacy, and she was asked a question about whether she supports Medicare for all, and this is her response right here. Check it out.
What is your solution to ensure that people have access to quality health care at an affordable price? And does that solution involve cutting insurance companies as we know them out of the equation?
I believe the solution, and I'm actually feel very strongly about this, is that we need to have Medicare for all. That's just the bottom line. And I'll say this, and this is, I think, why you're also asking this question. What we know is that to live in a civil society, to be true to the ideals and the spirit of who we say we are as a country, we have to appreciate and understand that access to health care it should not be thought of as a privilege. It should be understood to be a right. It should be understood to be something that all people should be entitled to so that they can live a productive life, so they can have dignity. And having a system that makes a difference in terms of who receives what based on your income is unconscionable, it is cruel, and in many situations that I have witnessed, inhumane.
So she's very clear there. She is very clear on her position there. This is from 6 months ago. 6 months ago, she made this statement, and and then she raises her hand when she's asked, "Would you be in favor of eliminating, private insurance to make sure government run healthcare is the main kind of source of healthcare, the main way that people receive healthcare." And she claims that she misinterpreted the question. Now, I mean, if you want to say that maybe the question wasn't asked necessarily the right way, I mean, okay, I guess you could say that, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't. So, but that's the thing. I don't know if it was me. When I heard it the way I heard it that way everybody else heard it. She's claiming she heard it completely different. And the reason why I say that I believe that she was coached when she gave that response is because she says, well, yeah, probably. That's probably what I heard. You could see that at the end of the interview that she did with MSNBC. She said, yeah, that's probably why I responded that way, because that's probably what I heard. Yeah, but that's ridiculous. And I mean, I have trouble trusting her to take a solid position on this issue, because it's clear that she goes back and forth. One second she says one thing, another second she says another thing, and she constantly wants to take the road that is most opportunistic and most suitable for her. So she doesn't, and this is common obviously among most Democrats, but so that she doesn't have to commit to anything, and then she can weasel her way out of it, and then nobody has to say, oh, well, this is what you said before, and this is what you believe. So here, like in the CNN town hall, in January of 29th, which was 6 months ago, she said, I support Medicare for all. She's she makes that case very clear here in that specific town hall when she said that. And the woman asked, would you be in favor of getting rid of the private insurance companies? But she changed her mind. And I mean, she changed her mind. So what happened? She ended up changing her mind after that town hall, if I remember correctly. I can't seem to find the article where she kind of backtracks on it. She does say I think she says something about like there being like there should be multiple paths to get there or something. And yeah. I don't think she said that in that video, but she has said that in the past. So that's what I'm saying. She's constantly all over the place when it comes to this debate, and she can't seem to stick with one specific position that she wants to take. And I honestly don't know what she believes. I don't think she believes that we should get rid of abolishing private insurance, because she says I am with Bernie Sanders. I support Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is, Medicare-for-all legislation, but there's other ways we can get to it. And that's what all of the politicians except Bernie Sanders are saying. Bernie Sanders is the only one that's taking the real approach on Medicare-for-all and making sure that that's the issue, that's the main part to deal with the issue of healthcare, and making sure that that's the only way that we can get rid of all the high deductibles and all the copays and all that stuff. So premiums and shit like that. Yeah. So like Bernie Sanders gets it. Kamala Harris obviously does not get it. So, and it's very unfortunate that she, bounces back and forth and takes all these various positions on this one issue, and it's just opportunistic. And I'm sorry, I can't trust that.